Hello young little minds, welcome to All4 e-learning program. I am DNR, your physics lecturer. So this is the fifth session of our All4 e-learning program. In the previous session I have started with chapter called vectors. We are continuing with vectors. So today's topic is types of vectors. We are actually doing with types of vectors. I will continue with the types of vectors. Before going to that, let's have a recall of what we have learned in the earlier classes. So I was telling you, physics is a subject of measurement. Physics is a science of measurement. We measure. When we measure, we get a quantity. Any physical aspect, entity around us which can be defined and measured is physical quantity. And these physical quantities, based on their orientation, they are classified into two. They are divided into two: scalars and vectors. So I was telling you, scalars are those physical quantities which possess magnitude and no significant direction. Even if they possess direction, they don't have any importance. Right? Scalars are just represented by a mere letter there, and they've got a specified unit associated to it. Right? I've given you the examples for scalars. All the fundamental quantities are scalars. Most of the physical constants are scalars. Thermal quantities, many of them are scalars. Wave properties are scalars, with some exceptions, etc. Now coming to vectors, so I was telling you, vectors are those physical quantities which possess magnitude and a significant direction. Not just possessing direction, they possess direction and they obey the laws of vectors. Right? So those physical quantities which possess magnitude, significant direction, and which obey the laws of vectors are termed as vectors, vector quantities. So vector quantities are represented. I represent them by a letter with a arrow over it like this. And how do you represent them on with respect to our subject? We can represent them by three methods: pictorial representation, graph, right, picture form. So I represent a vector by a line segment. The length of the line segment gives you the magnitude of the vector. Magnitude of the vector is the absolute value of the vector. The absolute value, which is always positive, and of course it's a scalar, which is a mere number. Right? The length of this line segment gives you the magnitude of the vector, and the arrowhead gives the direction. Picture form. I represent them in mathematical form. Well, by Cartesian convention, so we represent in mathematic form also. There is one more method called polar method, where I give the magnitude and the angle made by it with the reference line. Right? So vectors. Then we were talking about different types of vectors. I was explaining, giving it with examples. So I've given about coincidental vector, co-terminal vectors, coplanar vectors, collinear vectors. Right? Then later we talked about parallel vectors, anti-parallel, like vectors, unlike vectors. I differentiated between the parallel vectors, like vectors. Right? Later we have talked about the equality of the vectors. Equality of the vectors. Two vectors are said to be equal if they have got same magnitude, same direction, and they belong to the same physical quantity. Negative vector, opposite, same magnitude and direction, same magnitude but opposite in direction. They are negative vectors, right? Opposite vector. Later we were talking about zero vector. So previous session we didn't complete it properly. So let's continue with a zero vector. So zero vector or a null vector, right? So it's also called as null vector. Any vector whose magnitude is 0 and which has got arbitrary direction is termed as zero vector. Its direction is indeterminate. It has any arbitrary direction. It can take any arbitrary direction. Direction is indeterminate. Such a vector is termed as zero vector, null vector. Now, actually, vector is defined as the one which has got magnitude and direction. But when there is no magnitude, how can you call it as a vector? But even though if its magnitude is 0, it has got a lot of physical importance. It has got a lot of significance in physics while defining the vectors, while representing the physical property of the vector there. So they are of lot of significance in physics, right? So zero vector is a vector whose magnitude, A bar is a vector whose magnitude is 0, then it is termed as zero vector. It is represented as 0 bar. So if A bar is a zero vector, then A bar is 0 bar like this. right? A vector magnitude 0. Its direction can take any arbitrary direction. Now, how arbitrary direction? Actually, I was telling you the vector, any vector is represented by a line segment, where the length of the line segment gives you the magnitude. Now, 0 vector is represented by a line segment of 0 length. The length is the magnitude. When the magnitude is 0, now the line segment of 0 length. So, the initial point and the terminal point lie at the same point. When it is a line segment of 0 length, then how do you assign the arrowhead? So, arrowhead can take any direction. So, that is the reason why 0 vector have got any arbitrary direction. Can take any arbitrary direction there, okay? So, 0 vector, it has got lot of importance. Even though it is 0, it is used to define the additive inverse. It is used to define the nullification of vectors. If two vectors both equal and opposite, then, you know, if there are two vectors A bar and B bar which are equal and opposite, if they are two equal and opposite vectors like this, then sum of these vectors is 0. If A and B are negative vectors, opposite vectors, then sum of these two vectors is 0. Right? So, if it is A bar and the other one is B bar is minus A bar. So, therefore, if I substitute, it is A bar minus B bar is minus A bar, then it is 0. A vector added to its negative vector gives you a 0 vector. So, to define the additive inverse, additive inverse, I need a 0 vector. 0 vector has got a lot of importance. You know, magnitude, if the magnitude of a vector is gradually decreasing and it becomes 0, at the point where it becomes 0, so I have to represent it by a null vector. Like when I throw a body vertically up, body projected vertically up, velocity is 10 while going up 10, then it gradually decreases to 10, 9, 6, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and finally it becomes 0. When it becomes 0, it becomes a null vector. So, the examples for null vector: velocity of a vertically rotated body at the topmost point. If a body is executing simple harmonic motion like this, then the velocity of the body at the extreme point is 0 vector, right? And the displacement of a body which is at rest, stationary body. When a body is stationary, it is at rest. Then during a small time interval, the displacement is 0. Position vector of the body which is at the origin, position vector of the body at the origin is also 0. So, those are the examples for 0 vector. Now, when you talk about the various properties of 0 vector, let us take the properties of 0 vector. Now, suppose there is a vector A bar. If a zero scalar, a 0 is multiplied to this one, if 0 is multiplied to a vector, then it yields in a 0 vector. For example, force on a body F is equal to ma. Weight of a body F is mg. Now, what is the weight of the photon very nearer to the Earth's gravitational force? Because of the Earth's gravitational force, what is the weight exerted? Weight of the photon, well, actually due to gravity is a vector, but the mass is 0. It is 0. It has no gravitational effect. Photon is not influenced by the gravity of the Earth. So, a 0 value when multiplied to a vector gives a 0 vector. Similarly, suppose if a 0 vector is multiplied by a non-zero value, so n into 0 bar, this also gives you 0 vector. Same F is equal to ma, same formula, force F is equal to ma. What is the force acting on a body moving with constant velocity? When the velocity is constant, acceleration is 0. This is 0 vector. Well, mass is existing, acceleration is 0, so the force becomes 0. So, when either 0 multiplied to a vector gives you 0 vector, or any value multiplied to 0 vector gives you 0 vector, right? Then, if a vector is added to its negative vector, A bar minus B bar also gives you 0 vector. A bar minus of plus of minus A bar. A vector and its negative vector, the sum of these two is always a 0 vector. Both sum up to equal to 0, right? Equal and opposite. Example, action reaction. Suppose if you consider an internal force, action reaction, both are equal in magnitude and opposite direction. The net force is 0. Of course, where it is internal force, right? So, next one. Suppose there is a vector a bar. When I add 0 bar to it, then it leaves the vector invariant. When 0 vector is added to any vector, then the vector remains same. There is no change in magnitude and direction. Similarly, if the same vector is subtracted by 0 vector, then also it remains the same. So when 0 vector is either added or subtracted to a vector, then the vector, it leaves the vector as it is without any change. No change in magnitude, no change in direction. Right? So when 0 vector either added or subtracted, leaves the vector as it is. Now based on this, there was a very beautiful question asked in the earlier entrance examination. It was given like this. Two vectors a bar and b bar are such that a bar plus b bar is equal to a bar minus b bar. There are two vectors a bar, b bar such that the addition and subtraction of both the vectors is same. Then what do you infer? What does this mean? So a bar plus b bar is a bar minus b bar. You know, a bar get cancelled, get minus b this side. So I get b bar minus b. When it comes this side, it is plus b bar is equal to 0. Now this is 2b bar is equal to 0. Now 2 cannot be 0. So therefore b has to be 0. B is 0 vector. So this equation is possible, this expression is possible only when B is a null vector. Right? So this expression is possible that B is null. So what do you infer from this expression? We infer that B is a null vector. Now you see, A is not null vector because if A is 0, B minus B, it's not possible. So B should be a null vector like this. A very good question asked in the earlier entrance examination. There was even another question asked based on this concept. N1 and N2 are two non-zero values. Given N1 and N2 are two non-zero values, some values, right, non-zero values. A bar and B bar are two, A bar, B bar are two vectors, neither parallel nor anti-parallel, in different directions. Now they satisfy a condition N1 A bar is equal to N2 B bar. Under what condition this expression is possible? When does this expression holds good? That was a question asked there, isn't it? N1 and N2 are two non-zero numbers. A bar and B bar are two non-parallel, neither parallel nor anti-parallel vectors. Vectors in different directions. Then N1 A bar equal to N2 B bar. This expression holds good when it is given like this. So this expression holds good under what condition? What is the condition for this expression to hold good? Now given N1 and N2 are non-zero, they cannot be 0, right? And A bar, B bar, they are not in same direction. Now if the vectors are not in same direction, how can you equate them? You cannot equate them. So they are not in same direction, neither parallel nor anti-parallel. But still they are 0. It is possible only if these two vectors are null vectors. So if these two are null vectors, this becomes a null vector and even this becomes a null vector. Well, null vector can take any arbitrary direction. It can take any direction. I can represent the vector in any direction. So therefore, this will be possible only. The expression N1 A bar and N2 B bar holds good only when A bar and B bar are 0 vectors or null vectors. A very beautiful question asked in one of the next entrance examination, right? Okay. Right. So this way, 0 vectors have got lot of physical significance. Then they are used to explain certain quantities, the variation of the quantity, the decrement of a quantity coming to 0. A vector quantity decreasing its magnitude and becoming 0. So if I have to explain it physically, then I have to define 0 vector. It has got lot of physical physical importance. Beside that, you know, 0 vector, the examples for 0 vector: position of the body at the origin, acceleration of a body moving with uniform velocity, velocity of a body which is at rest, displacement of a body which is at rest, or a body projected vertically up, velocity at the topmost point, for a body executing a simple harmonic motion, velocity at the extremities, etc., etc. There are many such things. Okay, next. Well, this is regarding 0 vector. Now next, let us talk about unit vector, a very important part, a very important thing which will be helpful to you to understand the later concepts of physics. You know, these seem to be very basic things, but understanding these basic things clearly makes the later subject, the higher standard subject easy. So I am putting it very neatly, slowly, please understand carefully, right? Unit vector. Now unit, I mean one unit value. So unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is 1 unit. That particular unit, one value, the magnitude is 1 unit, and it has got a specified direction. Any vector whose magnitude is 1 unit and which has got a specified direction to show, such a vector is termed as a unit vector. Is it? So if a bar is a vector, then if its magnitude is equal to 1, then a bar is termed as a bar is a unit vector. A bar is a unit vector. So I can represent this in vector notation also. A bar is a vector such that mod A is equal to 1 and angle A is some finite angle theta, any angle, right, any direction with respect to the reference line, right, theta, then A bar is a unit vector. It is a unit vector. So this way I can define it in terms of vector notation. Similarly, the earlier one, 0 vector. A bar is a vector such that mod A is 0 and angle A can be anything, angle direction can be anything, any value, then that is a 0 vector. If the magnitude is 1 and it has a specified angle direction, specified angle with the reference line, then it is a unit vector. Is it? So therefore, a vector whose magnitude is 1 unit and has a specified direction to show, such a vector is termed as a unit vector. You know, a unit vector, suppose if A bar is a vector, then the unit vector in the direction of A bar is represented as A cap. You know, all A bar is a unit vector. So this is represented as A cap. So it is termed as A cap or A hat, and it is denoted like this with a arrowhead above like this way. A cap. It is a symbol for a unit vector. Now, what is the unit vector along any vector? Suppose there is a vector A bar. What is a unit vector along this vector? A unit vector along any vector is a vector of 1 unit magnitude and the direction, given direction, same as that of the direction of the vector there. So, what is the unit vector along A bar? Then A bar, A cap is a vector whose magnitude is 1 and its direction is along A bar. Then A cap is called the unit vector along A bar. If mod A cap is 1 and its direction is along A bar, then this A cap is called as the unit vector along A bar. It is the unit vector along A bar. Now, how do you get this actually? How do you get this unit vector? Let's suppose, you know, A bar is a vector whose magnitude is 5. Now divide, I am representing that vector by a line segment like this. Now divide that line segment into 5 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each part is 1 unit. So this each part in the direction of that vector, this is of magnitude 1 unit, and that represents A cap. So A cap is a unit vector, magnitude 1 unit vector, and the direction in the direction of A bar. So how did I get this A cap? A cap is, how did I get the A cap, this unit vector? I have divided this vector A bar by its magnitude. Suppose it was 5 units, I divided this into 5 parts. Had it been 10 units, then I shall divide this into 10 equal parts like this. When I divide this into 10 equal parts, then this each part will be unit vector. So when a vector is divided by its magnitude, a vector divided by its magnitude gives a unit vector in the direction of the vector. A cap is the unit vector along A bar. So A cap is A bar by mod A. So cross multiplying, what is vector A bar? A bar is mod A into A cap. So I was telling you, any vector is represented by a magnitude, unit, and its direction. Now this magnitude This is the magnitude of any vector. So any vector, it is a bar. It is represented by magnitude and unit. So this is the magnitude and this is the direction. So a cap direction. Therefore, a unit vector is used to specify the direction of a vector. A unit vector is used to specify the direction to that vector. If I have to represent the direction of the vector, then multiply the magnitude of the vector with the unit vector in that direction. So then I get a vector. So a force vector, a force of 10 Newton acting along east, suppose this is the magnitude and this is the direction. Now from this equation I get unit vector is a bar by mod a, cross multiply. So a vector is magnitude, this is the magnitude into this is direction. So this is nothing but the unit vector. So unit vector represents the direction of the vector. A unit vector is used to specify the direction to the vector, For example, let us say there are two charges, positive charge, they repel. So this is Q1 and this is Q2. Charge Q1 imparts a repulsive force F1 on this vector. Q1 repels Q2. So force on Q2 by first charge. Force due to the first charge F1 is in this direction. So now the radius vector from Q1 to Q2, from 1 to 2 the radius vector is r bar. The force is in the direction of the radius vector. So what is that force vector? It is the magnitude of the force times the direction is the radius vector. It is r cap. So the direction of the force is in the direction of this radius vector. So direction to this vector can be imparted by multiplying the unit vector. So the radius vector between these two is r bar. So r cap is the unit vector into magnitude gives the force vector. So any vector can be represented by its magnitude times the unit vector in that direction. So that way I specify a vector. So how do you get a vector? A vector is obtained by, if a bar is a vector, then a bar divided by its magnitude gives the unit vector a cap in the direction of this vector a bar. Now, so what is unit vector? It is the ratio. It is vector by magnitude, ratio. Its value is 1, then it has no units. Its ratio, it has no units and no dimensional formula. It's a mere number and its value is always 1. Unit vector, its value is always 1 and it has no units, no dimensional formula. It is just used to specify the direction. It is used to specify the direction. Zero vector specifies zero magnitude. Direction can be anything. Unit vector specifies the direction into any magnitude gives the vector. Right? So unit vector is used to specify the direction. Zero vector to impart zero magnitude to the vector. Okay? So therefore unit vector is any vector whose magnitude is 1 unit and it has got a specified direction to denote. You know, based on this aspect, Cartesian has suggested, he has framed a three-dimensional system. Based on this, he has framed a three-dimensional system, Cartesian 3D system. Cartesian 3D system. Now, Cartesian has framed a 3D system imparting unit vectors in the known directions. He has convented unit vectors in the known directions to define vectors mathematically. Look, for example, consider Cartesian has imagined the origin. Now at this origin, imagine three mutually perpendicular axes. Let us say x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis, like this. Three mutually perpendicular axes like this, x, y, z, right? X-axis, y-axis, z-axis. Well, let me complete this by drawing a cube. So this is x-axis, this is, let's say, y-axis, and this is z-axis. Now let me complete this. So he has imagined a 3D frame like this, right? A 3D system in this manner, this way. Is it? So this is origin, this is x-axis, positive x-axis plus x-axis. This is origin y-axis, this is positive y-axis, and this is positive z-axis. Now I am imagining a 3D frame. This is a 3-dimensional frame, right? Now in this 3D frame, I want to denote a vector, right? To denote a vector, he has convented some directions to this. He imagined, let the unit vector along x direction. Well, in mathematics, we deal coordinate geometry with x, y, z, this, x, y, z axis, and we analytical geometry, right? So based on that, he has convented some unit vectors in this. He has supposed that unit vector along x direction, a unit vector along x direction, he has termed as along x direction. He has named it as, or he has symbolized it as I cap. Well, I cap is a vector of magnitude 1 and it is along positive x direction, positive x axis. This is the convention. Well, in our surroundings, natural surroundings outside, you can term this as east. Not always, it is a convention. I can put it in not only in east, according to my orientation, I can imagine in any direction. You can even, sometimes, you can suggest it as east. Similarly, unit vector along y-axis, y, right, this side. So he has named it as j cap, right? Again, its magnitude is 1 and it is along positive y-axis. Similarly, unit vector along z-axis, positive z-axis, this is small k cap, right? Again, the magnitude is small k is 1 along positive z-axis. So that way, he has convented, he has imagined, let the unit vector along positive x-axis be I cap, along positive y-axis be j cap, positive z-axis be k cap. By considering this convention, now using this, you can define any vector, right? So similarly, if I consider unit vector along negative x-axis, opposite direction, it is minus I cap. Negative y direction, it is minus j cap. And negative z direction is minus k. Any vector whose magnitude is same direction opposite, negative vector, so it is minus k. Minus k is in the downward direction, right? Plus k in the upward direction, this way. So he has considered a 3D frame like this. He has imagined a 3D frame. Now in this 3D frame, you can define the position vector. You can define the position of a point. A vector which defines the position of a point with respect to the origin, now it is termed as position vector. A vector, suppose if I imagine x, y, z like this, right? If there is a point, the vector which is joining the origin to that point, from the origin to the point, vector which represents the position of the point with respect to the origin. Now this is termed as position vector. Let me consider a point P here. This is the point P. Let the coordinates be a comma b comma c. Then the vector which connects the origin to the point P, the vector which represents the position of the point P from the origin. This gives the position of the point P from the origin. Now this is called the position vector of point P. A position vector is termed as the vector which represents the position of the point with respect to the origin, right? In our surroundings, you can estimate the position of the tip of a building, or the position of a person standing on a building, or the position of an aeroplane at a certain instant of time. You can locate, redesign. You can design the position by imparting some 3D, imagining a 3D frame. You can give the definition to the position vector there. So this way you can define the position of any object, any body, any point in this 3D frame. For this, he has imagined, let the unit vector along x-axis be I cap, y-axis be j cap, z-axis be k cap. Magnitudes, they are all 1 unit in magnitude, but the directions are respective directions. For I, it is positive x-axis, j positive y-axis, k positive z-axis. Well, opposite direction, negative x-axis. For negative x-axis, the unit vector is minus I cap. For negative y-axis, the unit vector is minus j. For negative z-axis, the unit vector is k cap. So this way, we can make use of the unit vector to locate the position of a point in our three-dimensional frame like this. Okay. Now next, let us write down the equation for the position vector of this. Consider a point P. Let there be a point P, right? P, A comma B comma C here. In this three-dimensional 3D Cartesian 3D frame, I am imagining a point P, A comma B comma C. The line joining the origin O to point P. Now this vector which represents the position of point P. Now this is called the position vector of point P. So position vector, the position vector of point P, you can even simply put it as PV, position vector of the point P. Now this is represented as OP bar, where O is the initial point, P is the point whose position vector is being represented like this, OP bar. Let me name it as some A bar. So OP bar is A bar. Now how do you define it mathematically? How? Now how to reach the point P from point O? How do you reach point P from point O? Now its coordinates are A comma B comma C. You know, according to coordinate geometry, when you consider, suppose in a 2D plane, let's say there is a point, let's say 2 comma 3. Now drop a perpendicular onto x-axis. So from x-axis its distance is 2 units. Drop a perpendicular on y-axis, then from the origin its distance is 3 units. So here from the origin its distance is 2 and here it is 3. So this point is 2 units away along x-axis from the origin and 3 units away along y-axis from the origin. So it is 2 along x-axis, 3 along y-axis, then you reach the point. Similarly, continuing the same thing in 3D, in 3 dimension. So to reach that point P, right, let us imagine in nature, how do you reach that point P? So start from the origin, walk along the axis, along the x-axis. Now its x coordinate is A. So I have to walk x units along, A units along x-axis. Now if along x-axis, if I walk along 1 unit, it is I. If I walk 2 units, then it is 2I. So if I take 3 units, 3I. Now when you move A units along x-axis, then this is AI cap. AI. So along x-axis, if the magnitude is A, then the vector along x-axis you can represent as, right? Suppose there is a vector along, a vector something like A bar, which is of some 5 units along x-axis, then it is represented as 5I cap. There is another vector B bar of 10 units along along y-axis, then B bar is 10, along y-axis is J. Suppose there is another vector C bar, which is of some 6 units along z-axis, then it is 6k cap. Well, magnitude, and this is its direction. Any vector is represented by magnitude and its direction. Well, corresponding units. If it is displacement, the answer is in meters. If it is velocity, meters per second, so on and so forth. A unit is assigned. Now, I have to reach the point P from O. How do I reach point P from O? So my known directions are first moving along x-axis. Later I move parallel to y-axis, parallel to y-axis. Later I move parallel to z-axis, reach the point P. I am moving A units along x-axis. You know, 1 unit along x-axis is I cap. 2 units, 2I. 3 units, 3I. I have moved A units. So this is AI. A magnitude, that direction is I. Later I am moving parallel to y-axis. Well, parallel to y-axis, you know, I was telling you, any vector, if it is shifted parallelly like this, there is no variation, there is no change in its magnitude, neither magnitude nor direction. So y-axis, if I imagine it here, so I am moving parallel along y-axis. So now, along y-axis, 1 unit is J, but I have to travel B units. So y coordinate is B. So along y-axis, I have to travel B units. So this is Bj. Right? So 1 unit along y-axis is 1j, 2 units 2j. I have to travel B units along y-axis because the y coordinate is B. So it is Bj. Then from there, I am moving parallel to z-axis. This is z-axis, parallel to z-axis. If this is z-axis, I can even imagine this as parallel to it. We know unit vector along z-axis is k. I can imagine this unit vector in this direction. So 1 unit is k. If I travel 2 units, 2k. I have to travel c units because c is its magnitude. I am traveling c units along parallel to z-axis. So this is ck. So to reach p, I travel a units on x-axis, b units on y-axis, c units on z-axis, right? So let me show you. Suppose if I imagine 3 coordinates like this. Let there be 3 coordinates represented in this manner, right? There are 3 coordinates x, y, z axis represented in this manner like this. If I have to reach a point P, well, my pen is showing the position vector of point P, suppose. Imagine, right? This way it is. So the chalk pieces, these 3 chalk pieces represent 3 x, y and z axis, mutually perpendicular axis. Let's suppose this is the Cartesian 3D frame, right? I have to denote the position of this point P. Now the vector which joins the origin to point P, now this represents the position vector. This is the position vector of point P, the vector which represents the position of the point from the origin. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is z-axis. I have assigned unit vector along x-axis is I cap, along y-axis is j cap, along z-axis is k cap. Now to reach this point a comma b comma c, first x coordinate is a. I should travel a units along x-axis. So I travel a units along x-axis like this. This way a units here along x-axis, right? Then to reach the point P, I travel b units along y-axis, parallel to y-axis. So I am traveling b units parallel to y-axis like this. Later, from here I travel c units along z-axis, c units. So first a units along x-axis, then b units along y-axis and c units along z-axis. So to reach this point, I travel a along x, that is a along x-axis. Along x-axis unit vector is I cap, so it is a I cap. Then b units along y-axis. Along y-axis unit vector is j cap, so I put a symbol j cap. So b along j y direction, and c units along z-axis, parallel to z-axis, that is k cap. So to reach point P, I have moved ai along x-axis, a units along x-axis, plus b units along y-axis, plus c units along z-axis to reach this point P. Now my disposition with respect to the origin, the position vector OP bar is equal to a I cap plus b j cap plus c k cap. In this Cartesian frame, 3D frame, if I imagine a point a comma b comma c here, then the vector which is showing, let's suppose your eye is at the origin, you are looking at the point P, the line joining the eye to that point represents the position vector. Right? If your eye is here, then this is the line which shows the position of that point. The vector which represents the position of the point from the origin, that is called position vector. So this is the position vector of this point. The point is a comma b comma c. So to reach that point, a x coordinate, I travel a units along x axis. B is y coordinate, I travel b units along y axis. C is the z coordinate, I travel c along the z axis, parallel to z axis. Now put them, symbolize them in the mathematical form, putting them in a simple form. Instead of stretching it in English, the English literature writing as a along x axis plus b along y axis plus c along z axis, instead of putting in such big form in English, I shall symbolize them. Along x-axis, I am imagining a unit vector I cap. I simply write a I cap. Now this defines. So a I cap, I have already defined, it is a unit vector along x-axis. So a units along x-axis plus b units along y-axis plus c units along z-axis. The expanded form, this can be expanded in English as, what is point P? You will reach point P from the origin O. If you travel a units along x-axis plus b units along y-axis plus c units along z-axis. So instead of putting in a such big in English literature, I am symbolizing them. So putting it in a symbol form, mathematical form. It's ai cap plus bj cap plus ck cap. Simply, so the position of the point P from the origin is represented as OP bar. This is A bar. This is ai cap plus bj cap plus ck cap. So this way, the position vector of a vector is represented. Position vector of a point P is represented with respect to the origin. Cartesian has defined such frame. He has imagined a 3D frame, right? Anywhere you want to locate the position of any point, the tip of a minar, for example, tip of the topmost point of a building or topmost point of any monument like this. From your position, from your point, from your house, you want to locate the position of any big monument. You can locate, you can design, you can define the position. Imagining how you have to do. Imagine an origin, the point from where you want to define the point. At that point, imagine three mutually perpendicular axes, whichever way you want. There is no restriction of defining the frame of reference. It's according to your convention, you can define the frame of reference. So at the point, imagine three mutually perpendicular axes. Name them x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. Then symbolize along x-axis the unit vector is I cap. Along y-axis, unit vector is j cap. Along z, it is k cap. Now define the scalars. How many units along x it is away from you, how many units along y it is away from you, how many units along vertically up away from you. Define the values, add them. Simple. So that way you define the position of any point in any frame. Right? In any frame, you can define the position of a point. So this is the origin and the point P, whose coordinates are a comma b comma c. Then the position vector of point P, PV, it's symbolized as PV of point P. Then it is OP bar. O is the initial point, origin. P is the final point, the point whose position vector I have to define. So OP bar is, I have named it as some A bar. So A bar is. Now how do you reach P? How did you reach P? You traveled A units along x-axis. So I say A along x-axis. But mathematically I have already convented along x-axis the unit vector is I cap. So I write it as simply A I cap. How do you spell in English? It is A units along x-axis. Later I travel B units along y-axis, symbolized as J cap. Later finally C units along z-axis. I reach my destiny. So now the position vector OP bar, join them. So I have traveled A units along x-axis plus B units along y-axis plus C units along z-axis. Then the position vector is AI plus BJ plus CK. This is the mathematical form of representing a vector. Now if I enlarge, if I expand in English, what does it spell out? The position vector of the point P from O, position vector of P from O, OP bar, that is A bar is A units along x-axis plus B units along y-axis plus C units along z-axis. Now I decrease the number of bytes. I just put it, my memory is reduced like this by symbolizing the things. Instead of writing it in such a big form, I symbolize AI plus BJ plus CK. This is the position vector. Okay, right? Thank you. Yeah, today we have studied about the zero vector, unit vector, and the continuation of unit vector, the position vector. So tomorrow we will continue with the later part of the position vector. Okay, thank you.